welcome back. We are going to be talking about Brent crude, which is hitting almost $75 a barrel in a bit. First, this news: President Akufo-Addo has appointed Dr. Mustafa Abdulhamid as Chief Executive Officer of the National Petroleum Authority. Now, this ends months of speculations linking him to one of the most prestigious state-owned enterprises in Ghana. We've got infographic to show you. His appointment takes effect from the 1st of July 2021. In a letter dated 17th of June 2021, Dr. Abdulhamid has been charged to champion the vision and mission of the NPA, which is to regulate, oversee, and monitor the petroleum downstream industry in Ghana for efficiency, growth, and stakeholder satisfaction. He is expected to reposition the downstream petroleum regulator in order to address the huge revenue leakages in the sector. He's taken over from Hassan Tampoli, who is now the Member of Parliament for Gushegu in the Northern Region. Dr. Hamid served as a spokesperson to then candidate Akufo-Addo from 2008 until 2017, when he became the Information Minister and Presidential Spokesperson. Prior to that, he served as the Executive Director of the Dankwa Institute and a lecturer at the University of Cape Coast. So there you go. Mustafa Hamid is NPA boss. Well, joining me to discuss this, Dr. Yusuf Suleiman, who is an energy expert. He joins us with some reaction. Great to have you on the program tonight. So what do you make of the choice of Dr. Mustafa Hamid as the new boss of the NPA?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, Daryl, and good evening to you and your cherished viewers. Yeah, I think it's a welcoming news in the first place, because this is a very crucial institution that is key to the nation's energy security. NPA plays, vital role in the downstream sector. In fact, they are in charge of regulating the entire downstream sector. And if you look at, in the whole oil and gas or petroleum industry, we have the downstream and then the upstream, of course, the midstream. But our case, I think the downstream and then the midstream are almost, combined together. And so the expectation is that, there are a lot of challenges that are currently, there in the downstream that we hope that Mustafa Hamid, Dr. Hamid will be able to champion. I know we are learning that, he is an embodiment of honesty and integrity. And so this is another, scarce commodity, that leadership requires, every institution requires. And so if he's able to, instill this embodiment into the very body and the very fabric of this critical institution such as NPA, I think it will be a better place to be. Now, the expectation is that Yeah, I was going to say that I bet one of the things stakeholders would expect is for him to do something about the levies on petroleum products. What, in your perspective, should we expect or should be his work when he takes over on the 1st of July? So I think clearly what I expect from Dr. Hamid is a very good collaborative, working relationship with the key stakeholders. Fortunately, the downstream industry or sector is already very well organized, if I may say. And so well organized to the extent that there are key leadership within the downstream, with Association of Oil Marketing Companies championing part of the PSPs, that is petroleum service providers. We have CIBOG, championing the, BDCs. And then we have COPEC also championing, the consumer arm of it. And so with this kind of, very good arrangement, I think what Dr. Hamid needs to do is to have a very good collaborative, and a very collaborative working relationship with these bodies. If he does that, and I think it will make his work easier. Now, going forward, I'm looking forward to seeing that Dr. Hamid should be able to champion three key areas that embodies energy security so far as the downstream is concerned. Energy security has three, or fuel security, if I may put it that way, has three components. That is, we can talk about fuel affordability, fuel dependability, and then the quality of fuel. Fuel affordability or availability or dependability or quality, they are all coming together to make up, a fuel security of the downstream sector. So going forward, I think there are a lot he can do. Availability, we are already guaranteed, I think, over the years, even though we are heavily dependent on importation. But I think NPA and players have been able to guarantee the nation's consistent and regular supply. However, is it affordable? That is a question that we need to ask. Is it coming at the right quality? That is a question that we need to ask. So the affordability aspect, what we expect, NPA to do is to plug leakages. Because if you look at, the leakages and seepages within the downstream, that is actually why we have a lot of taxes that we don't see the impact of that. Assuming we are able to plug these leakages and then we are able to take out some of the taxes that we have on petroleum products at the downstream, I think petroleum product will come at affordable rate to the poor consumer. And then the quality also, I think they need to harmonize, work with other stakeholders like Ghana Standard Board and key stakeholders to make sure that, we harmonize fuel quality. And so these three areas that I expect Mustafa Ali, Dr. Hamid, to champion. And if he's able to champion that successfully, I think, he should be able to succeed. Yeah.
Well, that said, we want to take some time to talk about what's happening on the markets, the oil market right now. The bullish momentum we're seeing with Brent crude hitting almost $75 a barrel. What is happening?
Yeah, so just before I come to that place, one thing I want to add also about the downstream, which is very critical, that nearly keep my mind, is the issue of petroleum product safety. I think over the years, NPA, they have done well. I expect, the boss of NPA, Dr. Hamid, to consolidate those gains that they made in terms of the safety of petroleum product to the poor consumer and to the Ghanaian public. I think that is key. Yeah, so yes, we are having serious bullish momentum, as you rightly explained it. And the reason being that the market is heating up. As much as renewables are gaining momentum, the world of hydrocarbon is not also leaving it free. It's also gaining even bigger momentum. As we speak now, Brent is almost selling around 75 because 74.9, that's about 75. And there's an expectation that Goldman Sachs is predicting that we may get it around 80. And some are even bullish to the extent that we could get it around 100. Now, what is accountable for this, Darrell? It is the international dynamics, typically. Three things are holding this as we speak now. First of all, is the vaccines. Vaccines are becoming promising, and then the pockets of lockdowns are being liberated. And so we have the Asian economies, that is China, and then now US and UK in the European world, they are opening up. So that quantum leap in the demand component of the chain is trying to overcome supply. And so if nothing is done, I think we're going to have a lot of this price going up. Now, the other component that is holding this price, the third component that I mentioned, that is apart from China and then the vaccines rollout, that is resulting in this kind of pockets of lockdown being released, is the OPEC cuts. And that is the key wild card here, Darrell. OPEC has now taken control of the market, undoubtedly. And so now the market is now under at the mercy of OPEC. So OPEC is going to meet 1st of July. Now, if OPEC agrees to release some barrels into the market, then we are expected to see the price going down. Other than that, as long as OPEC is still lackadaisical in terms of, releasing these barrels into the market. As we speak now, we still have about 6% of global consumption. That is about 6 million, barrels of crude being held by OPEC. And their reason is that they are trying to still make sure that the market is strong enough, to capture that. But I think it is clear that the market is now getting, resilient to be able to take this. So we expect that OPEC should be able to release these barrels into the market, and if they do, we expect this price to stabilize. Other than that, if the demand is able to overcome supply and the supply is not able to match the demand, don't expect us to hit 80 and above by the end of the year.
We have seen the impact locally, the repercussions on consuming nations like Ghana. Over the weekend, prices of fuel products went up. My final question, if you could do it in a minute because you're running out of time, what would it take to cool down the market?
What will it take to cool down is easy. OPEC to open the taps, that is all. OPEC has to open the taps. If they open the taps 1st July, if they agree symbolically to open taps, I think the market will cool down. And then downstream, the repercussions are clear, and that is why that is what we are already seeing, playing out. Our part, we are clearly dependent on importation. About 80 to 90% is imported, and this importation is paid on what is currently prevailing in the global market. And so, as long as the oil prices are taking bullish turn, we expect the effect to trickle down at the pumps. And so, it's not surprising that we have a price going up at the pumps. And so, I think we need to just make sure that we plug the leakages, take out some taxes, reactivate some component within the price build-up that should be able to cushion the poor consumer. Other than that, we are yet to see higher prices if nothing is done.
Thank you so much for your time, Dr. Suleiman Yusuf, for your perspective on the issues that we have discussed. Grateful. Hope to speak to you another time.